guys, hi guys. Now what we discussed in our previous video, how to define a .h file. This is our .h file which we created in the next video. What it does, I want to repeat once again. It's just create a header file. It's just create a library. It just acts as an interface for the client. If I'm going to write some code, I'm going to use this. If I'm going to use this header file, then I will be the client for this for this class, for this header file. So what I've done in this code, I just create a class user header which going to use as a library for another section of code. But right now in the header file, this what I told in the previous video, that a .h extension file only gives a way of defining our structure of the class. We will not we are not going to define and declare. We're not going to define the business logic behind this function. The whatever the business logic we going to define, it just comes in .cpp file. Now how could I just come in? I just create a file, a dot header user header dot cpp. Now I want to write a same macro function for that cpp file. Why does come? I just define if not define user header underscore cpp, then we're going to define. I just give a command to a compiler that if it doesn't if it doesn't find any kind of user header underscore cp file, then it will create a user header underscore cp file, so that it could load this file to use this function. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I just define. I Here we're going to define our memo function. Now what I'm gonna do, I want to do if not define and has include. I want to include here user header dot h file. Okay, I want to use this cv file. I want to this is the basic very basic concept, that how could you relate .h file with which .cpp file. Now I have created .h file in the earlier case. Now I want to use that h file in in this cpp file. The how could you use it? First, I just give a command and I define this cpp file, and I'm just going to create. I'm going to include. I'm going to use this header file, user header and .h. And I forget in the last tutorial that I have to include that much of the standard cpp plus .h. Okay, using namespace standard. That the thing which I forget in the next video. Sorry guys. Now in this video I will remove all these queries. Now I just include the .h file, and this is the basic concepts which we have to write before writing .cpp file. Now what I'm going to do, I just define the constructor right now. This is the way we could declare the functions outside of the class block. Now I just created a class block here, but I have to define I have to define this. I have to define the actual business logic behind this constructor, behind this function. Now what I'm going to do, I just use this user header class, and this is the scope resolution. This says that we want to define a user header class with this function which name is user header, and it acts as a constructor. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert this parameter b. I want to set this value this comma a. This I know you are familiar with, you are quite I'm expecting that you know this, because I have already discussed too much about on this keyword. This keyword is quite useful when writing oops programming in C++. You should have to be gone with these things. We should have to be quite familiar with these things, because in the next upcoming videos we're going to use these things as much as possible. So what I'm going to write, constructor has constructor has no return types, so we didn't specify any kind of return for this user header section. Now next function is our in return int value, and I want to use user header get sum. What it does, just return the value of this sum of its member variables. This a plus, okay, sorry guys, my typing is not too good, but I will manage this. I'm running out of time. Now what it does, it just return the sum of the member variables or its functions. This a and b is the private member variable of the class user header. Now I just defined user header constructor and get some functions inside .cp file. Now I have done our library is now created. Now I will create a main. What I want to do, I just to create a user header object. I want to create an instance. What I want to, I just create a variable in a is equal to 2 comma b is equal to 4. I just pass this variable, I just pass this parameter as a, I just pass there was a parameter for this constructor. Now we have created a constructor. What I want to do, I'm going to print this value user header dot get sum. Now we have done, and we want to see how our library is working right now. Okay, so guys, our compiler is now running. Oh shit, yeah, it's output. Now we have done, and we're going to use these macro functions. How we're going to use the macro function, I'm going to create a this is the way we're going to use this macro function. We create a library whose name is user header dot h. Now I can use this user header dot h in anywhere. Suppose if I want to create a new file, I just create a new file. You're going to see that this is the end of the line of the code which define user header class. Now this is the line of the file from that point. If not defined, compiler read this bunch of code from that into from top of the code to that line. From end of this int has indef. Now compiler know if compiler reads this user header under cp, it doesn't find any kind of this file, and you're going to create this cp file, and you're going to include user header dot h, or what I defined it user header dot h. We just created a class block inside this user header dot h file. Now I'm going to define this. I want to define and complete the declaration of the functions inside this bunch of block. Means I want to define the complete functionality of the constructor and the function of the class user header in dots file. Now this is the end of the our has in deep macro block. Now I want to create a main block. This is the main block where the CPU starts to run the program. Now I will create a main blocks. I'm going to create an instance of the user header objects, and I'm going to use this function get some. This is the way we can create a library. I can use this library anywhere in the code. Suppose you want to create a code. Suppose you want to create this header out another section of the code in another file. Then how to use? Just save this file as a 2.cpp. Okay. Okay, sorry guys, it's already existing file. Now what I do, I just include this file, I just include this header inside this file, print, and what I do, I'll just copy this line. Okay, and delete this line right now. Okay, what I will do, I just run this program. Okay, what it does is